Welcome viewers, and thank you for joining this detailed report from Zailangam Media. Today we bring you an in-depth analysis of an important clarification issued by the United People's Front and the Kuki National Organisation concerning recent allegations made in the media about Kuki-Zo MLAs supposedly joining a future government formation. As many of you already know, political updates concerning Manipur's conflict and the wider Kuki-Zo national movement often become the subject of misreporting or deliberate distortion. Therefore, this document released by UPF and KNO is not just a statement. It is a crucial intervention aimed at correcting a narrative and reaffirming the political priorities of the Kuki-Zo community. In this comprehensive analysis, we will explore what was written, what was not written, why it matters, and what it reveals about the current political climate in Manipur and the wider struggle of the Kuki-Zo people. We will look at the context, the implications, the political messaging behind the denial, and how this fits into the larger demand for a union territory with legislature. We hope this deep dive will allow viewers to understand the strategic thinking of UPF and KNO, and the internal expectations placed upon Kuki-Zo MLAs during this very sensitive period. Let us begin by looking carefully at the central message of the UPF and KNO statement. The organisations strongly refute the news that appeared on November 16, 2025, claiming that Kuki-Zo MLAs had agreed to participate in forming a popular ministry in place of the president's rule currently imposed in Manipur. According to UPF and KNO, no decision was taken, no resolution was passed, and most importantly, no commitment was made toward joining any government formation at this time. This outright rejection sets the tone for the entire statement. It aims to protect the political integrity of the Kuki-Zo stance and to prevent confusion among the people, especially in this politically charged moment. The document acknowledges that a general conference of the Kuki-Zo Council was held on November 15, 2025. This is significant because it shows transparency. The leadership admits that discussions took place, but they emphasize that the focus of the meeting was not to join any ministry. Instead, the discussion centered on the core political demand, securing a union territory with legislature for the Kuki-Zo people under the Constitution of India. This clearly shows that the demand for UT status remains at the heart of the political struggle, and nothing has changed in their priorities. One of the most important lines in the statement is the assertion that many representatives strongly expressed the view that Kuki-Zo MLAs should not join any future ministry until the Government of India issues an unequivocal commitment regarding the UT objective. This tells us two things. First, the leadership is aware that entering a ministry without guarantees could weaken the movement. Second, it shows that there is strong internal unity on putting UT first above any temporary political arrangement. For communities affected by long-term conflict and continuous injustice, trust in political agencies is fragile. UPF and KNO are reminding both the public and the Indian government that the Kuki-Zo stance will not be compromised for short-term political gains. Now let us look deeper into why this clarification was necessary. In the current Manipur context, the political vacuum created by the violence of 2023 onward has resulted in deep distrust between communities. The imposition of President's rule reflects the collapse of trust in the state government's ability to maintain neutrality and stability. The idea of forming a new ministry to replace President's rule naturally raises concerns. For the Kuki-Zo community, whose people have suffered large-scale displacement, destruction of villages, and socio-economic breakdown, joining a ministry without structural guarantees would be interpreted as betrayal. UPF and KNO are well aware of this sentiment. The statement therefore attempts to reassure the people by clearly stating that no such decision was ever taken. The document also accuses the report of gross misrepresentation. The media claim that it was agreed that Kuki-Zo MLAs would join a popular ministry is described as fabrication. This very strong wording indicates that UPF and KNO view this misinformation not merely as a mistake, but as something politically motivated. The timing of the rumour is suspicious. As the demand for a UT with legislature gains stronger momentum, any attempt to misrepresent internal discussions could weaken unity. Political opponents might use such misinformation to sow confusion, create division, or weaken bargaining power with the government of India. Moreover, the statement highlights that the overwhelming consensus of the meeting was focused on political demand, not on participation in government formation. This is a reminder that the Kuki-Zo political movement is not driven by power-sharing arrangements, but by long-term structural rights and political safeguards. In the decades-long history of the Kuki-Zo struggle, interim governments and temporary ministries have come and gone, but the demand for political recognition and territorial safeguards has remained. The leadership is reinforcing this long-term perspective. Let us now analyze the communication strategy used in the statement. UPF and KNO choose a calm but firm tone. They avoid attacking any political party directly. Instead, they label the news as untrue, misrepresented, and fabricated. This strategic choice helps maintain credibility and avoids escalating tensions. They clearly separate legitimate internal deliberations from the distorted narrative pushed by the media. They openly admit that joining a ministry was discussed, but strictly within the context of political conditions. This transparency builds trust within their own community, who expect honesty and clarity in such sensitive affairs. Another key point worth discussing is the emphasis on the collective Kuki-Zo leadership. The statement repeatedly uses words like consensus, collective, and community stance. This is intentional. In a movement divided by geography, history, and political affiliations, unity is everything. Even small rumors of joining a ministry can fracture public opinion. By asserting that the Kuki-Zo MLAs remain committed to the political objective, the leadership aims to quell doubts among the people who may be vulnerable to rumor-based interpretations. Now let us widen the analysis to the broader political landscape. Why would such misinformation appear at this particular moment? The demand for a UT with legislature has gained momentum in national political discussions. The government of India is under pressure to restore stability in Manipur, and different actors have different preferred outcomes. One may speculate that some forces might want to portray the Kuki-Zo leaders as ready to compromise, so as to weaken the negotiation position. Others may want to portray them as politically divided. Still others may want to create pressure on the Kuki-Zo MLAs by portraying them as already having decided, thus forcing a political reaction. In such a complex battlefield of narratives, official clarifications like this become essential tools for maintaining political discipline and public unity. It is also worth noting the use of words such as unequivocal, commitment, objective, and foremost priority. These words reveal a deep frustration with ambiguous assurances. They reflect a demand for clear, written, constitutional guarantees rather than verbal promises. The Kuki-Zo people are deeply aware that political promises made in turbulent times often get forgotten. This insistence on unequivocal commitments demonstrates a mature political approach grounded in historical lessons. Let us also analyze the implications for the Kuki-Zo MLAs. In any political crisis, MLAs face enormous pressure. On one side, they are accountable to the public. On the other side, they deal with political actors trying to bring them into a new coalition. This statement creates a protective shield around the MLAs, empowering them to resist pressure. It publicly declares that they cannot join any ministry unless the core demand is met. This gives them political strength and prevents them from being manipulated by opportunistic actors. It is important to remember that MLAs are elected to represent the people, but during crises, people often worry about political betrayal. This document reassures the community that their elected representatives remain aligned with the movement's long-term goals. We should also explore what the demand for a union territory with legislature means in the context of this statement. It is not simply a political aspiration. It is a survival demand based on the complete breakdown of coexistence between the Kuki-Zo and the dominant Meitei community. In such conditions, joining a new ministry without structural safeguards would expose the community to renewed vulnerability. Therefore, the leadership insists on clarity first, government formation later. This is a strategic and cautious approach. From a political science point of view, this statement is an example of narrative correction. That means the leadership is trying to ensure that the community's political message remains clear, uncompromised, and unified. Misreporting can change public perception, weaken bargaining power, and create divisions. By issuing this clarification quickly, UPF and KNO show that they understand the power of information in modern political struggles. Let us now reflect on how the people might react to this clarification. For the ordinary Kuki-Zo citizens who have lost homes, land and loved ones, any rumour about joining a ministry might appear like a betrayal of their suffering. Therefore, this clarification will likely bring relief to the people. It confirms that their leadership is prioritising structural justice and not temporary political positions. We should also consider how this statement will be received by the government of India. On one hand, it signals that the Kuki-Zo leadership is firm and united. On the other hand, it sends a message that symbolic assurances are not enough. For New Delhi, this is a reminder that any solution must be constitutional, structural and long-term. Now let us analyse the final lines of the statement, where UPF and KNO reaffirm that the Kuki-Zo leadership remains committed to achieving political demands as their foremost priority. This closing reinforces everything stated earlier. It leaves no room for misinterpretation. It tells both the Kuki-Zo public and the larger national audience that the movement remains anchored in its central objective. In conclusion, this clarification is not merely a denial. It is a powerful political message in itself. It protects the unity of the Kuki-Zo community, strengthens the position of Kuki-Zo MLAs, counters misinformation, and restates the long-term political aspiration for UT with legislature. It reinforces that leadership decisions will not be made under pressure, rumour, or political manipulation. And it demonstrates that the Kuki-Zo movement continues to operate with strategic clarity and unwavering resolve. This concludes the deep analysis of the UPF and KNO statement. Sources: reference UPF and KNO official clarification statement dated November 16, 2025. Public reports and contextual political developments in Manipur. Internal deliberations of the Kuki-Zo Council meeting on November 15, 2025. Disclaimer from Zailingam Media. This analysis is prepared for educational and informational purposes based on publicly available documents and political developments. Zailingam Media does not intend to defame, misrepresent, or harm any organisation, individual, or community. All interpretations are made in good faith for viewers seeking a deeper understanding of current affairs. Subscribe to Zailingam Media. If you found this analysis informative and helpful, we invite you to subscribe to Zailingam Media for more detailed reports, political analyses, documentaries, and updates on the Kuki-Zo national movement and related issues. Your support helps us continue producing reliable and meaningful content.